This is lesson 2, multiplication and division review for course 1. Now, when we're looking at this is a multiplication word problem. Reason I know is because of how much of something is asking me to multiply. So find the cost of 2 dozen 35-cent pencils. Now, 2 dozen, remember 1 dozen is 12. So if I have 2 of them, that gives me 24. Okay, so that's 2 dozen, 35 cents each. So I could add 35 to itself 24 times, 35 plus 35 plus 35 plus 35, on. Or I can multiply. Multiplying in this case is easier. Now, if you have 35 cents times 24, okay, you are now doing your long multiplication. So long multiplication, we start off within our ones column. 4 times 5 is 20, carry the 2. 4 times 30, technically, but we're going to say 4 times 3 to make it easier. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 2 is 14. Okay, I have now used the 4, and I've used this 2 I had up there. So I'm going to cross them out to remind myself I've already used them. Now, because I've done this, I also need to remember that when I do that, a 0 goes down here. This is really important. If you do not have this placeholder, you're not going to come up with the right answer. The reason I'm doing this is because remember when I said this was technically 4 times 30. You are now multiplying by 20, not by 2. We say 2 times 5 because it's easier for us to remember. But this is actually now 20 because we are in the tens column. So we're not going to have anything in this ones column, so we have to have the 0. So 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Add them together, 0 plus 0, 4 plus 0, and 8. So we have 840, or because this was 35 cents, remember, this is $8.40. That is your long multiplication. Again, remember that because we're no longer using the ones column, once we're finished with that 4, you have to put the 0 here because we are now into tens. And when you're timesing by 20, you're not going to end up with anything in the ones column. So when you're looking at multiplication, you have something that's called the commutative property. Commutative property means that as long as you are timesing by the exact same numbers, you will get the exact same answer. So for example, if I'm timesing 2 by 3, I am going to get 6. Now, I can switch these numbers around and get 3 times 2. I will still get 6. That is the commutative property. No matter which way I switch these factors, I'm going to get the same product. When we are doing long division, so let's take 3,456 and divide it by 7. Okay, when we're doing our division, we need to remember our multiplication helps us, but we also need to remember our 0 placeholders. So 7 goes into 3 0 times. Now, if it helps you, you can put a 0 here to remind yourself that you've used that 3. You cannot put anything over it now. If you are good with memorizing, you don't have to put it. I am going to put it to remind myself that I have used this 3, if you will. I can't use it right now. So 7 does not go into 3. Does 7 go into 34? Well, then we need to do some multiplying. So if you do not have a multiplications chart on you, and you don't know your multiplications all that well, you can come to the side and do some addition. So go to the closest one you know with 7 that reaches as close as you can to 34. For example, I know that 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, so that is 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, now 21 is not close enough yet, so I'm going to add another 7. This now makes 28. Okay, this is now 7 times 4 is 28 because I've added another 7. Let's keep going. Let's see if I can do farther. Add 7. That would be 35. Okay, that is now 7 times 5. 35 is too big, which means I need to go back to 7 times 4. So I'm going to put a 4 up here because it went in, 7 went into 34 4 times, which was 28. And now I'm going to do my subtraction. 4 take away 8, I can't do it. I need to borrow. So 14 take away 8 is 6. 2 take away 2 is 0. I am now going to bring down the 5. If it helps you remember our steps from dividing, which was you divide, how many times does it go into it, multiply, subtract, bring down. And you keep going until you are at the end and run out of numbers. So 7 into 65. Okay, again, if you don't have a multiplication chart, you can do this with addition on the side. So for example, or actually, and if you don't want to do it with addition, you can also do it with subtraction. So for example, I know that 7 times 10 is 70. But 70 is too big. So I'm going to go lower. Okay, let's do take away 7. That is 63. Okay, that is 7 times 9. So 63 is big and is small enough that I can fit it with 65. So I'm going to use the 63, the 7 times 9 for this. So I'm going to come back over here and say, okay, 7 fits into 65 9 times, and 7 times 9 is 63, and I'm going to subtract, and I'm going to get 5 take away 3 is 2, 6 take away 6 is 0, and I'm going to do my next step, bring down the 6. I'm now doing 7 into 26. 7 into 26 is 3. Okay, now again, if you don't know off the top of your head, you can do the addition or subtraction on the side. But 7 times 3 is 21. I'm going to do my subtraction, and I'm going to get 5 remainder. Okay, so I now have remainder 5. This was long division. Okay, now if you need a more in-depth review of long division or long multiplication, please go back and watch division level 2 and multiplication level 2 from Math Concepts. When you're looking at multiplication and division, these are inverse or opposites. So if I had a multiplication problem with a missing number, I could use division to help me find it. Or if I had a division problem with multiplication, division problem with something missing, I could use multiplication to find it. This also means that this has fact families. For example, if I have 21 divided by 7 equals 3, that is a division fact. If I wanted to make this into a multiplication fact, I could go the opposite direction. 3 times 7 equals 21. Okay, just like I can switch them around. Remember the commutative property. 7 times 3 equals 21, and 21 divided by 3 equals 7. Please remember with division problems, you always have to start out with that biggest number because that's the number you're putting into this many groups. So you always start with the biggest number. But this is now 4 facts using the exact same numbers. Okay, and this is the relationship between division and multiplication. This is a fact family. That is the end of our lesson 2 multiplication and division review. Again, if you need extra help with long multiplication or long division, go back to Math Concepts playlist and look at multiplication level 2 and 3 and division level 2 and 3.